welcome the TJ and the Grumpy Old Man Show. Grumpy, you almost got me slipping there. The TJ and the Grumpy Old Man Show. I'm your host, TJ, and with me again, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. How are you today, my friend?
Very good, thank you.
They say there's no shame in Grumpy's game because he is always the same.
That's me.
Oh, Grumpy. How are you, though? You said you're doing well.
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Man, oh man, is there a lot to talk about in the sports world?
Yes, there is, but there's something else to do, some housekeeping issues right off the top.
Yes. Again, we are going to be going live every single Wednesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then we're going to be going back live on Sundays as well here at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, remember, right off the top, if you enjoy this content, you want to see more, you don't want to miss out on any of the action the Grumpy Old Man and I put forth, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment down below if there's any topics you want us to cover here in the future. But Grumpy.
Yes.
The name, image, and likeness college athletes are starting to get paid on. And man, oh man, is it a wild and crazy ride.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week, right?
Yes.
And we didn't know who it was going to be. And I think it wasn't half an hour from when we got off the podcast that somebody signed one of those deals. And I thought that it was going to happen. I didn't realize it was going to happen as fast and as much money is being thrown around right now. It's like I want to say it's like when we started to venture out from the East Coast and go out into the Wild West. There are no rules. Anything goes. There's no marshal. Maybe there's a U.S. Marshal who's a 4 days ride away to try to settle these things. But all I know is these guys are going to probably make more money than maybe they make as a pro, even if they make it to the pros.
I won't say that much. You know, the craziest part about it, you're right. It is like the Wild West, and it is a fun and crazy and interesting time that we are witnessing all firsthand. We definitely have some quotes to pull off of that too, and some news. John M. last podcast did go ahead and select. He thought that Bo Nix was going to be one of the first athletes getting paid, one of the first big-time athletes. John M. was right, ladies and gentlemen. Bo Nix, one of being that next day, was getting paid, and he just kind of left there. Wow, it's crazy to think about how quickly everything happened. There's a lot of different items to happen with the name, image, and likeness. I think the most soundbite worthy clip, though, happened on a Dan Patrick show this week, Grumpy Old Man. And this is Darren Ravel was talking about it, about Arch Manning, and talking about what maybe he could be earning when he goes ahead and goes to college. And he says he really believes that this guy has a chance to blow the doors off the hinges. I'll let you listen to the clip, Grumpy.
Okay. Not a high school athletes. It's really once you sign, that's the rule. But then the question is, are guys going to sign earlier? For example, Arch Manning. I mean, Arch Manning, I could see could make $10 million as a freshman in college.
I'll stop it there. There's more to the clip. Grumpy Old Man, $10 million. As a freshman in college.
You realize that's more than Trevor Lawrence, the #1 draft pick in the NFL, is making his first year here. You're aware of that, right?
Really?
Yep. And this kid's going to be 18 years old and potentially making that. I mean, look what the University of Miami did.
Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it, Grumpy. I'm going to flip the clip here. I just want to say $10 million. We're going to get back to it.
I told you, though, right? I told you it was going to happen. All it does is make boosters. They can just pay anything they want. That's all it means.
And we're going to get to that. Let me finish the clip. We're going to get to it. Grump, we're got a lot to talk about on this, but I want to finish the clip. But initial shock value, $10 million. I don't know. When I heard that number, I don't think he's just throwing willy-nilly numbers out there. I mean, we'll let the clip continue, though, Grumpy.
Everyone who had Peyton and Eli are going to want to sign him. There's no one really now coming up that, like, you see, he's the guy. When you say who's the guy who is going to go to college and just blow this thing up, that's the guy who I think of. So, but he's got 2 years to go. The question is, and there's still a lot of questions here, if he commits to a school, does that start the timeline?
think he brings up an interesting point. If he then commits, will he be automatically eligible there on the timeline to start getting paid?
Very interesting, because now you're talking about paying high school students millions of dollars. Think about it. High school students now.
Well, hey, now you have an extra incentive to enroll early to school, even if they're like, hey, got to wait till you get to college. Well, now I could just go ahead and enroll early. Everybody enrolls after their winter after the first semester of their senior year of high school. Most athletes do their college-wise football. So, hey, they enroll early and they're getting, X amount of dollars. But yeah, Grump, this is $10 million. And here's the thing, right? I understand Arch Manning might be, an outlier. He definitely is, right? You say the guy could blow the doors off the hinges with this. The average everyday player, the average everyday starter is also going to be seeing quite a hefty amount, Grumpy. You mentioned earlier about Miami football. They have a gym right now sponsoring them, Grumpy Old Man, and their scholarship athletes are going to get paid over $6,000 a year.
Think about it. $6,000 just to put your name on the paper. You don't even have to play. Every scholarship athlete is going to make $6,000 a year. Think about that. Incredible.
Yes. Think about that. Hey, I've just got an extra $500 stipend here a month coming from a gym that we have to go ahead and take some pictures for. I get a free gym to work out at. I'm getting paid $500. Doesn't matter if I'm absolute garbage on the field. Doesn't matter if I've never played. I'm a scholarship player, so I'm going to start getting paid. And trust me, this is not going to be the end. This is just the start. You're going to see a lot of these type of items come through into fruition. And to think you're going to have players that even if you're a starter at a Division I school, you might not be good enough to go pro, make it to the next level. But the likelihood, if you don't go pro, you could be making more throughout your college years than you do when you step out and become a professional in the real world. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, it's like the Wild West out there. No rules. Hey, you wanted it, you got it. There's going to be some negative coming from it too. We don't see it yet, but there's going to be some negative things coming down the pipe.
In essence, in theory, this is a good item. This is good to see that players can now get paid on their name, image, and likeness. I've always been a big supporter of that. Now you're going to see the separation between the big schools and the little schools widen even more. Go ahead, Grump.
Yes, and that's what they said. Oh, well, this will make the talent gap less. The big schools won't be able to do this because these guys won't be starters, and now they can go to some other smaller school and get paid on their likeness, and they'll be able to play, and they'll make this. I'm like, no way. You're going to see everybody, Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, you know the ones. Oklahoma, Notre Dame, they're going to be paying these kids so much money under the table. They're not going to go to where they can play the most. They're going where they can make the most money.
And if they're going to be able to make it as soon as they exit high school potentially, or as soon as they enroll at school. So, hey, I'm going to go ahead and sign my national letter of intent here, and I'm going to go ahead and come with a stipulation that Joe Montanaz, who owns 1 million McDonald's in the area, is going to poster me in some capacity, and I'm going to get paid there by McDonald's franchise owner, and they're going to use that as an advertising write-off or whatever, and I'm going to get paid from it. And, it doesn't even matter what I do on the field. I'm going to get paid just by walking into the door. Holy crap, crazy.
You know what it's like? It's like banks in South Florida in the 1980s and their money laundering schemes from cocaine, except now they're using these players to launder booster money to clean it and give it to them. It's the same thing. Instead of them paying under the table now it's all above board. And you're right. They're going to use it as tax write-offs, anything to make their team good. These kids are going to make money. Troubles are coming. I'm just going to say, I don't mind kids getting paid. I always thought they should have got paid. But when you're talking about a kid potentially getting $10 million his freshman year just for signing a piece of paper, more power to you. But there's going to be trouble coming.
It sets a dangerous precedent. I'll tell you this much. I'm happy they're getting paid. I do think they need some sort of oversight or regulation because just like you said, it's like we were all on the East Coast and we started venturing out west, and it's like the Oregon Trail. We're making a long trip out west. Who knows what's going to happen? And we're definitely going to be experiencing, I'm sure, a lot of hiccups. It's crazy to think, though, just by signing your name on a paper, you're going to get, you're going to get benefits. But I am glad to see that these individuals are getting paid. So don't confuse it. Don't twist it.
Yeah. And, I remember it wasn't too long ago, to be an Olympian, anyone wanted to be an Olympian, they had to be an amateur. It was about amateur athletics. And I'm talking maybe 30 years ago. Everybody was an amateur, where, the Soviet teams or the communist teams from the communist bloc countries, they would be paid to be in the army. But in auspice, what they really were doing, they were just training for these Olympic events. But they were in the Red Army or whatever other army that they had, the East Germans, all these things. And now, and I've always put us, like America and all the capitalist countries, not communists, those people were at disadvantage. Now that's not the case anymore.
Okay, Grumpy. I get it. I get loosely what you're trying to tie it there, too. Got a few comments here. Adrian B saying, hey there, what's up, TJ? Also, what's up, Grumpy Old Man and TJ? Grumpy.
Yo, Adrian, Tampa Bay's going to close it out tonight.
No, that they will. That they will. I did find one funny one. My inner linemen love to see this. But Mission Barbecue sponsored all 17 offensive linemen at Notre Dame.
Yeah, I bet they get free food.
Was that Grump? You spoke over. Was it?
I bet they get free food. I don't know how much money they get, but I'm going to bet they get free food too.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. Free food is going to go ahead and cover whatever they would get paid anyway, because, I don't know. I got to look at that barbecue. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, let me take a look at this barbecue. I saw it and I said, oh, man, I could really go for some barbecue today. So, even if it's just, hey, we're giving you free barbecue as long as you're a student here, I'd cash in on that all the time.
They're going to get more than that too.
Oh, for certain they would. But, hey, man, free barbecue anytime. You can't complain about that. We are going to see, though, players are starting to get paid. It'll be interesting to see, which player gets paid the most initially. Because, the first million or multi-million-dollar deal is going to make huge headlines. Huge headlines.
For me, you let the horse out of the barn, let the door open, watch out. Because there's trouble coming.
Yes.
There's just so much. Everything that was illegal and everybody was doing illegally. Now you're going to see how much they were doing, because anything that they were doing illegally, they're going to do legally now, and you're going to see how much money these players were getting under the table or in one way, shape, or form.
Getting under the table or getting through benefits in some capacity. Yes.
And I think people are going to be astounded with how much money is thrown around. Astounded. They won't be able to believe it. Too much to comprehend.
Yeah, because it's not going to be like just randomly, hey, now that it's legal, I could start putting money there towards this. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to pay players, but now I can go ahead and do it now that it's legal. So now I'm going to go throw hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars at it. No. It's been something along those lines anyway to begin with. That being said, Grumpy, is interesting. Matt Rothram, ex-offensive lineman there, college offensive lineman, played a little bit in the pros. He said he's not a fan of the idea just because it is going to widen the gap in the margin between the good teams and the bad teams by a significant bit. And I think we're going to see that. We are going to see that. I think it damages the overall quality. You're not going to see too many of anybody's on a playing, everybody's on an even playing field. It's not going to be like that.
Well, but that's how they were selling it, right? It's going to balance the playing field. Because now players won't feel they have to go to Alabama or Clemson. Now they can go to Piddly Punk U, and they're still going to get paid that. No, they're going to go where the money is, and the money is still in the big schools. That's what you're going to wind up seeing, and I totally agree. It's going to make the gap between the haves and have-nots way bigger.
And moving along their last bit there, Reggie Bush came out there with a statement. There's been a huge movement online, Grumpy, not sure if you're aware, trying to get Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy reinstated back to him. Are you aware of this, Grumpy?
Yes, I'm aware of it.
Yeah, he says, over the last few months, on multiple occasions, my team and I have reached out to both the NCAA and the Heisman Trust in regard to reinstatement of my college records and my return of my Heisman. We left multiple messages for Michael Comerford, the president of the Heisman Trust, but instead received a call from Rob Whalen, the executive director, who stated that Mr. Comerford would not be calling us back and that in any event, They could not help us out. We've reached out to the NCAA on multiple occasions and received no help or gotten no response at all. It is my strong belief that I won the Heisman Trophy solely due to my hard work and dedication on the football field, and it's also my firm belief that my records should be reinstated.
And the latest thing is what I've heard was that the Heisman people have responded and said, well, if the NCAA says it's fine, we will give you your trophy back. First of all, they never should have taken the trophy away. Yeah. I don't care what he did off the field. He earned that by his play on the field. And I don't think there's anyone who could say when he won that Heisman Trophy, he was without a doubt the best college football player that year. I don't believe in taking trophies away from people or just for something that happens after the fact. Yeah, he got popped. I don't think, though, you can go back and change the rules. I just don't think they ever should have taken it away from him. They should not be able to retroactively change things. I don't think.
No, I agree. I mean, here's the thing, right? He earned it there on the field. Think about it, right? They set his parents up with a house. It was like $200,000 or $300,000 roughly is the house that they set his parents up with there in at USC. And think about how much he would have earned, right? If even you tick the clock back and he could go ahead and make money there on his name, image, and likeness, he would have made a killing out there anyway. And for them to say, "Oh, we can't do anything," our hands are tied, the same old line of BS when someone doesn't want to work with you or help get you what you actually deserve and rightfully deserve. You hear that all the time. And just to think like the guy won it. And you just won't give it back to him here. I don't know. It gives me the odd feelings there. I mean, if there's enough movement there behind it, they'll go ahead and reinstate his trophy as they should. It's kind of like they're going to do like a public poll there on it. If it gains enough traction, they're just going to give it to him because what's the issue? I mean, like what's the big issue of not giving him the trophy back? Because what's the reason as to not give him the trophy back?
Well, because those were the rules back then. That's the reason. Those were the rules. They didn't follow the rules. They got caught, okay? Because 90% of those athletes are not following the rules. He just happened to get caught. That's what happened. He got caught, and that's what happens. There are retributions when you make mistakes. I don't think they should have taken it away from him, but I don't see how you can give it back. I mean, those were the rules at the time. I still feel that way. There's repercussions to your actions.
Oh, that'll move us into a section later on, Grumpy. We have a few comments to get to. Eli said, any thoughts on the Yankees so far? Good win yesterday, but I hope we can keep our 30-year-olds long streak of being above 500. Schedule is tough, though, and we're playing badly overall.
They're poorly put together. The Yankees are just poorly put together. I blame Brian Cashman for that. Aaron Boone is not the manager for this team. They need somebody with a firmer hand on that in the dugout. I just don't think he's the man. He's a milquetoast. Sorry, they need to move on from him. They've had pitching issues. Severino still hasn't come back. They got a bunch of guys hurt. Yeah, but the team is flawed the way it's put together.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that Garrett Cole's struggles as of recent have something to do with them putting the strict enforcement on spider tack? You've seen recently, and again, I'm not saying I don't have the exact timeline down, but you've seen recently that, hey, his numbers have started to course direct because he was on for an excellent season this year. And as of recent, his numbers have really been struggling. Do you think there's any maybe connection that he was using or a heavy user there, that spider tack?
Well, everyone said that he was using spider tack. He even admitted it, or that's what he was using it. Hard not to draw a correlation between the two.
Okay, Grumpy. You're struggling over there, Grump. I didn't know what was going on. Eli also said, did you see the penalty in the Euros today for England? Seemed like a phantom call that cost Denmark the game. Oh, don't you worry, Eli. We're going to be hitting on that hard and heavy later on in the segment for certain. Alexander also chiming in saying he's right on it. He'll get that money just because of his name regarding Arch Manning.
Yeah, I don't know. Just don't seem right to me. I mean, here's the thing. I think, like they had the issues before, right? They had the NCAA video games and they were using player likenesses. Now, I thought that was wrong. Those kids should get paid for that. But just to get paid because, your name is Arch Manning or, whoever, I don't know. I don't think somebody else should profit off of your name. You should get paid for that. But just to pay them for that, I don't know.
Well, now they're going to say, well, we want to go ahead and put Arch Manning on our posters. We want to put Arch Manning on every single Krispy Kreme that I own in the area. And to do that, Arch Manning, you're going to drive a hard bargain, but I'm going to give you $100,000 a year in order to do that, Arch. You're going to be a little picture of you at every single little table saying, eat Krispy Kreme donuts. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see shit like that. That's how they're going to get around it. And just kind of like, oh, they're going to see some people are going to be mortified when they see how much these high school athletes and college athletes are going to be making. Some people already have an issue with how much NFL and professionals get paid, right? When they see now that all these college players are going to be getting paid that too, or sort of similar to what, some people are going to be mortified with these numbers. Again, they should profit off their own abilities. Good for them, but they do need some sort of regulation, I believe, a little bit.
The NCAA, as usual, is just dumb. They don't think of what happens when they make rulings. They should have, I don't mind the players getting paid, but they should have thought about a way to get it done. They should put some type of cap on it.
Well, here's my question. Do you think they did it and they just said everything is free game so they could show everybody? Because remember, the NCAA has been taking an absolute beating as of late. So do you think they said, hey, you could go ahead and do whatever you want just to let everybody see how wild and crazy this goes without a regulatory authority like the NCAA going ahead and putting, certain rules on it?
I don't think they're bright enough to do that. I could see why they get upset. All these companies, all these businesses, they're all so scared of public perception. College sports is the only game in town for kids who leave high school. They didn't have to do anything if they didn't want to. They could, the backlash, who cares? It didn't matter. Where else are you going to go? That's the whole thing. Where else are you going to go? You're not going to go anywhere. They don't have some type of semi-pro developmental league. They certainly wouldn't have that type of money to put something like that get something like that off the ground. They didn't have to do anything, but they should have thought it out about, hey, we just can't let them go wild out here. We're going to have to put some type of cap on it, so much a year or whatever. Does a college kid need $10 million a year or even $50,000 a year while they're going to college? No.
Well, 50,000, whatever, that's fine. Here's the thing, though. Even for those athletes who are going to be making $50,000 a year, that's more than majority of people make when they exit their schooling and they're out of their undergrad. That's more than what the majority of those individuals make. We'll get to it on a different time. I just don't think semi-pro will ever work. The only reason this works here and they'll pay players currently is because they're tied to, their old school, their old alma mater. So they have something tied to it. A semi-pro league doesn't have anybody tied anywhere. Nobody wants to pay to watch just a whole bunch of above high school athletes play before they get to the NFL. I don't think there's a big market for it. Just look at the semi-pro NFL leagues. There's not a huge market to it. The only thing that makes college different is because they have that name that they tie to it. The University of Michigan, the University of Miami, items like that. That's the only reason why there's a huge push behind college sports.
And that was my point. They didn't have to do anything. Who's going to tell them no, you couldn't do it?
They were going to lose in court.
So what? You just gave carte blanche to let the players do whatever they want. How could it have been any worse for the school than it is now?
I'm telling you, they were going to have to go pay probably retributions if they kept on doing
it. Why? No, if you go to a court case, it doesn't go back in time. If you're changing a rule, it's from here going forward. You don't go and change everything back in history.
Stop. You just go ahead and say, I want you to cease. I want you to do X, Y, Z, start divvying up and paying our players. Then they say no. Then they say, all right, we're going to go ahead and sue you. And then we're going to go ahead and ask for the time period where we asked you to start paying us. Now we're going to want you to pay us those back items too. That's how that works, Scrum.
But they're not paying the players. In essence, they are paying them by giving them a college education. That's how they get out of that. We're giving you a college education. We're giving you 3 meals a day. That's what we're giving you to play football here. They are paying them. They're not giving them cash, and they're not giving them cash now. These are outside entities who are going to be paying these kids.
Well, here's my question. Do you have a structured settlement and do you need cash now?
Not me. Not JG Wentworth.
Oh, 877 cash now. Alexander also saying, speaking of Miami, this is a make or break year for Manny Diaz. Yeah, for certain it is. I mean, they've got to step it up. The ACC is weak. They've got to go ahead and step it up. That's for certain. Alexander also saying, sorry, Eli and Grumpy. The Mets are the new kings of New York.
Would you really call them kings? Or maybe New York is in a bad state right now.
No.
The Yankees aren't great. It's still a Yankees town. I hate to tell you. Still a Yankees town.
Alexander also saying, in my opinion, I always thought college athletes should be paid just in case, God forbid, they had a career-ending injury. Then they're stuck. I think they should be paid. I think to myself, I'm like, oh, wow, just to ponder that just people who are going to walk in, be a part of an organization, maybe some of them don't even contribute. I mean, you could be making – I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to think that, hey, a gym is sponsoring every single scholarship athlete there at the University of Miami, giving them $6,000. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that just scholarship athletes might make on average about $100,000 a year.
That's ridiculous.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, think about how crazy that is.
On top of a college scholarship. Unless, like I said, my thing was always, you know what? You give them whatever it costs for a college scholarship per year, and you can spend that money any way you want. That's what I thought. That was kind of fair. Some kids will pay on their education. Some will just take the cash.
Well, we've hit an awful lot on the name, image, and likeness, and I want to kind of move away there from that, Grump, because I don't want to hammer it and beat it like a dead horse. That being said, there was also some big news there this week regarding the Olympics. Sha'carri Richardson, the young lady who has been ruled that she cannot compete there in the Olympics due to a positive marijuana test. You're seeing a lot of people speaking about this here on social media, and you're seeing a lot of that, a lot of misinformation going around left and right. And here I think is an interesting perspective there on this. And I had to do some information and research there, where I actually had to pull it there from the World Anti-Doping Agency. But apparently, and again, I think this puts it in a very, very clear way there. Marijuana is on the list of banned substances because it's used as a masking agent, which I did not know. I'll be honest. When Grumpy Old Man and I first heard this, Grumpy was like, hey, she should follow the rules. I'm like, who gives a crap if she's doing, she's smoking marijuana? Why does it matter? Here's the reason why. This is the reason why the anti-doping, the anti-doping agency does not allow these athletes to use marijuana, because I believe it's with this and something else that can actually mask any type of performance-enhancing drugs or certain performance-enhancing drugs that they may or may not be taking.
Okay. She couldn't have stopped smoking the doobies for a month. Couldn't do it. Not capable of doing it. You only get a shot once at 5 years since the last Olympics, right? You couldn't have laid off the bong or the pipe for a month. You couldn't do it. You knew what the rules were. You know what the rules are. Now you pay the price. I have absolutely zero sympathy for her. She's dumb. She's just flat out stupid.
Well, to provide some context, the reason why she said she was doing it because she recently lost her mother and that was her coping mechanism. Here's the thing. What I think happened, and it's unfortunate. This is an unfortunate situation because I don't think she was probably masking any type of performance-enhancing drug. But the reason why they have it in place is not because it enhances your ability to perform. It's because it gives you the ability to mask any type of performance-enhancing drugs. And she used it there for recreational / medicinal or coping reasons. And I don't think she's probably doing any type of performance-enhancing drugs, but, it just happens to fall underneath that umbrella.
She could have got herself a service dog instead of doing something that she knew was going to get her in trouble. And here's the thing. She's lying. She's flat out lying. I'm going to guarantee you she didn't just smoke and pot. She's been doing it for a long time. Do you think that the United States Olympic Committee wanted to suspend her? She was going to be one of the stars. There's no way. I guarantee you they caught her numerous times before this even happened. Say, hey, knock it off, knock it off, knock it off. And finally, she got popped at the trials. At the trials. I mean, come on. Get your head out of your butt. Like I said, zero sympathy for her. Just absolutely none.
Oh, stuck in his rigid ways, the grumpy old man is.
Hey, you know what?
Listen,
I like heroin. Heroin makes me get over laws. Would that be cool? Because you realize
is heroin banned? I don't know if heroin's banned. Is it?
I'm going to guarantee you it is. I'm going to guarantee you're not allowed to do any illegal substance. You realize marijuana is not a legal substance in this country. Some states have it legalized, but not in all. It's not legal in the United States of America.
Here's the thing. It doesn't provide any competitive edge. The only reason they have it illegal is because it masks your ability to do performance enhancing drugs. That's the reason why, Grumpy.
But she knew the rules. She knew the rules.
Yes.
You can't buy certain over-the-counter medications because it gives off a false positive. That's part of the rules too. And if you get caught, you get caught. That's why they have to go. That's why they have their people tell them what they can and cannot take.
Okay, here's also the thing. She's not making excuses or complaints about it. She says, I own exactly what happened. Here's the thing, right? It's like if you are driving over the speed limit and get a ticket. She's not over there saying, oh, I was driving over the speed limit because I was headed downhill and because of XYZ. No, she said I was driving over the speed limit. She took her ticket, and this is what it is. It's unfortunate. That's all I'm saying. This entire situation is unfortunate. Whether it's an instant of circumstance where all this happened, or it's just hard to think about, right? Because she's an Olympian, right? They only compete every 4 years.
I just want to know how she could be so dumb. That's what I want. How can you be so stupid? I mean, she could have taken shots of alcohol if she wanted. She didn't have to smoke pot. It's dumb. It's just really stupid. To jeopardize, like I said, and here's the thing, I don't know how old she is. I don't know how long she's been running, but this could be it for her as an Olympian. I feel for her in one aspect, but it's like, you know what? You're just too dumb. I'm sorry. It's just dumb. No sympathy. None.
Well, Grumpy, we don't go to you for sympathy factor. That's quite obvious.
Hey, I follow the rules. What can I tell you?
Okay. Here we go, Grumpy. What a shock. Here's the thing. End all be all. The reason they don't allow it, though, is because it's a masking agent. Doesn't provide any type of performance enhancing results, but allows you to mask if you were doing so. So I understand the reason, the rule why it's there. Originally, when I heard it, I'll tell you, I was kind of throwing my hands up in the air saying, why the hell are they doing this? It's such a waste of time. Why are they penalizing this young lady? But now, after being provided more context there, and also I'll show you here after reading up on it a little bit, I understand why. And again, it's got it there right in the World Anti-Doping Agency. You can go there, prohibited at all times, diuretic and masking agents. It has it in there. THC is the reason why. And you can use that and other agents there to go ahead and mask performance enhancing drugs, which is the only reason why it's all in there. So again, like now that I had a chance to look at it, I had a little bit more chance there to educate myself on it. It makes more sense. It didn't make sense when I originally saw it, and now I understand a little more context wise.
Don't do illegal drugs.
Oh,
okay.
Here's the thing, Grumpy. Like, I hate when you say it's not going to be illegal long term. So I'm like, I don't know, Grumpy.
You don't know that. Have
you not seen the way things shift here in the United States, where more and more states are now allowing marijuana use
for medicinal purposes? Yeah.
Not only for medicinal, also for recreational purposes. That being said, right along.
I can tell you what those states are.
Yeah, thanks, Grump. Why don't you keep it in control, huh? Keep it in control, Grumpy.
I'm just saying, she's dumb. She got popped. She deserves it. No problem. I won't lose any sleep over her not performing in the Olympics. None.
Oh, thank you.
I just wish she wasn't so stupid because I like to see her run. Too dumb to run.
Alexander says, no way, Grumpy. Mets Luis Rojas has done a tremendous job there with the injuries, being in first place the majority of the season.
I'm not criticizing what the Mets have done. I think they've done a great job with all the injuries they have. They've done a fantastic job, and Rojas has done a really good job as a manager. What I'm saying is that New York is a Yankees town. Even when the Mets were great in the 90s, New York was a Mets town for a few years, but then right back to a Yankees town. It's just like New York is a Rangers town. It's not an Islanders town. Or it's a Knicks town. It's not a Nets town. Now, if they win, okay, we'll get on that little bandwagon for a while. But then when things go back to normal, whoop, see you later. You're second-class citizens again.
Yeah. Well, I do want to go ahead and bring this up, Grumpy. I want to make this full screen for you here too. And the fun NBA, the NBA Finals. This was called a flagrant one foul on Brooke Lopez against Chris Paul. I just want you to take a look at this. A flagrant one foul, ladies and gentlemen. Holy crap. I will let you watch it. And this is our Charmin Soft segment of the day. Look at this. Let me go ahead and turn that volume off. Look at this call. A flagrant one foul.
He didn't even touch him, did he?
Oh, well, he didn't allow him enough landing space, and it caused him to roll his ankle, which leads to injury. So now we're going to call anytime someone steps underneath his landing zone, we're going to start calling those flagrant ones. You have got to be kidding me.
You know what? I'm glad I don't watch the NBA.
And let's just turn it into a three-point contest. No defense. No delimited defense. Look at this. I'm just still shocked about this. A flagrant one.
The one good positive, I'd like to see Chris Paul win an NBA championship. So, was it a foul? I don't even think it was a foul. All right,
you can't step underneath where he lands.
I have a hard time calling that a foul, and a flagrant just ridiculous.
Well, that is a foul. You're not allowed to hit.
Maybe Chris Paul should have tried landing on 2 feet as opposed to 1. Maybe.
Well, here's the thing. You're not allowed to go ahead and prohibit a player there from landing. And so, again, like as that jump shot there, he's prohibiting them from landing. That is a foul. Flagrant one, absolutely not. I'm sorry. That's an awful call. Flagrant one. Oh, man, oh, man. I saw that, Grumpy, and anytime I see something crazy like that from the NBA, I know you get a kick out of that type of stuff.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, man, oh, man. And here's the thing. Alexander also said, I think what the Olympics did to her is ridiculous, really stupid. People that do heroin and drink alcohol get off easy than marijuana, unreal. Yeah, I think it's just because it's a masking agent. That's the only reason. I thought the same exact thing. I'm like, why the hell are they penalizing this girl? It's all because it's a masking agent. That's the only reason why.
Well, I have no problem. Here's the thing. You know the rules. Don't break them. I mean, it's not like the NFL where if you get caught doing steroids, you get 4 weeks, right? How many before you even get to the 4 weeks? How many warnings do you get? I think it's 3 times before you get the 4 weeks. I guarantee you.
No, it's no longer that, Grumpy. It used to be that. It's no longer that.
They put you through counseling first, and you get a warning. They don't give you 4 days.
It's not 3 warnings. It's 1 warning, and you get it.
Okay, it's still you know better. But now? Here's the thing. Are you going to ask me if she's doing performance enhancing drugs and maybe using marijuana as a masking agent? I don't know, but it's a possibility. Please don't tell me that people don't think that Olympic athletes don't use performance enhancing drugs. They certainly do.
For certain. John P. Thank you, John P. Current states of recreational marijuana use is legal, Grumpy. Lo and behold, just look at the list. Again, it's much more than you think, grumpy old man, and it's going to continue to expand. You're seeing that more and more states are allowing medicinal as well as recreational marijuana use. You're going to see that legal. Here's the thing. I don't care if it's legal or not in that capacity. The only reason it can't do it is just because it's PEDs. I really believe that's the only reason why. And again, I would throw my arms up just like everybody else until I had a chance to read that. Alexander also saying, well, if it's masking for PEDs, then those people need to get fired. Well, I mean, like they just don't allow them. They just don't allow them to go ahead and do that. I wonder now. Here's the thing, too. I mean, like, does that also make you think about other sports that they might be able to mask that to in?
Guess what? Nobody even uses that idiotic defense. They get popped for using marijuana because that's the law. Now, I looked at John's list.
No. I'm talking about professional athletes, Grumpy.
Yeah, well, they get popped for using that too. You're not allowed to use illegal drugs in the NFL. You're not allowed to do that. They piss test you.
Okay.
I just looked at John's list, and there's 19 states on that list. That means 31 don't have it. That's why, like I said, it's not a universal law. And until it is, I'm sorry, those are just the rules.
Okay, Grumpy. I'm moving right along, talking about the Euros, the 2020 Euros, Grumpy old man. Now, quite a questionable call. Quite a questionable call here. As of recent, that gave England a pen right there in extra time. Man, oh man, Grumpy. I've got a few different items here for us. Now it's funny, right? Now I don't know if it's loser's lament that we're seeing all of these clips pop up here and all these defenses here for Denmark pop up, but I've got quite a few items, Grumpy, I want to show you. So you're gonna have to strap in. The first one I want to show you is the actual foul, and this is what I want to see here. Is this a blatant penalty? That's always the main question here.
It doesn't have to be blatant, but he doesn't even touch him here. He falls down. He takes a tumble. He saw the guy's leg come out. He takes a dive. Then the other guy brushes him from the side. That's a weak penalty. That said, England deserved to win that match. Okay? They deserved to win that match. They were the better team. So
Okay. Deserved and not. It still doesn't mean that he deserves a penalty here, Grumpy. I don't care if they deserved it or not. I mean, like, or who deserved to win. You see a lot of times games where teams might be vastly outplayed. They're able to make it there to the penalties. And just like earlier on in this competition, France dominated Switzerland the entire game. But guess what? They beat them in PKs and they moved on. They survived and advanced. Who's to say that Denmark wouldn't have had the chance to survive and advance if this blatant awful call wouldn't have been called? I mean, this is not the first time, too. I mean, Sterling was flopping all over the place all game long.
What Sterling said was, well, he put his leg out there, but the whole thing is it didn't touch it. It didn't touch him. He took a flop, and as he was falling, right, he doesn't even get touched. Now he gets bumped as he's on the way down by 24. Okay? But the first was not a foul. He took a dive. You know what? There should have been a yellow card pulled out for Sterling for embellishment. That's what they should have done.
Simulation is what they call it. But yeah.
But here's the thing. I think we had some NHL referees doing this game today.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it was bad. It was an awful blown call. And again, you know, hey, right? This has been the narrative, right? Bringing football back. That's what they've been wanting to do all year long. The Euros have all been about bringing football back.
Yeah, he doesn't even touch him there. He doesn't even touch him there. He's not even touched there. He's touched now. When he's going down, now he gets bumped a little bit on the other leg because they showed the other angle. He's never been touched.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? Getting off this point, because I know you're going to keep hitting on it. I think the narrative is they want England there. I think England's going to drive viewership. I mean, like, what would the final with Denmark and Italy be? I couldn't imagine that being a huge draw. I mean, they've been pushing England. And again, you know, when we're watching the United States, all we're seeing is all English announcers in some capacity. So they're obviously very, very pro-England when you're watching those type of telecasts. You're just kind of like, man, oh, man. Oh, yeah, no, that, you know, that was a late challenge. You can't do that. That's definitely a foul. That's definitely a pen. And, you know, the craziest thing about it is Harry Kane missed the penalty to begin with, but you just got that lucky bounce back there to him. Honestly, Schmeichel probably is kicking himself, wishing he would have controlled that ball a little better coming in on that pen.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame it. I'm not going to blame Schmeichel on that at all. But for the English supporters over there, all these people in Denmark saying England didn't deserve it, well, you'll get your reward on Sunday because they're going to get absolutely rolled by Italy. Italy is the best. They're going to destroy England. 3-0. 3-0. Maybe we'll give up a goal. 3-0.
Here is some more grumpy old man talking about why, about why this should have been not or stopped here action. They should have stopped action. And here this is, Grumpy. You're going to see something I didn't even notice when I was originally watching this live. You're going to notice this. There's something in the left-hand portion of your screen, Grumpy, you're going to see. There's a second ball on the field. Here's the thing. It didn't impede the play, but anytime a second ball is noticed and recognized, play is automatically supposed to be blown dead. There is a second ball on this field. Second ball on the pitch.
Well, it's particularly where the play is. It's going right at it. Yeah, that's a
holy shit.
That's a really bad. That's really
right
bad.
there.
Yeah, it should have been blown. Should have been.
The second ball is right there. And again, given I still don't think it affected or changed the events, but the letter of the law says, right, anytime there's a second ball on the pitch, play should automatically be blown dead.
I do believe in the rules. This
is here, right? He's glancing right in this area. He sees the second ball. He sees the second ball. Below it dead, because it should be. Oh, man. And right, you saw everybody also try to explain, what was the initial challenge right here, which is the reason why he lost his balance.
No. No.
Yeah, he didn't lose his balance.
He looks like he has pretty good balance, making another shift move. He took a dive. And he got rewarded for it. He was diving all game. But I'm going to tell you what, he was the only player on England today that I thought had good pace. The thing about Sterling, right? He's always had great pace. He's dangerous, but he's just terrible shooting the ball. He's just not
finish. That was always his MO. Could never finish.
And it still is. Like I said, the better team went through, though, so I don't have an issue with it. I just don't.
Well, I'll tell you this much, too. Here is another item. So not only did you have the second ball on there, there was also an issue, grumpy old man, to where people were shining laser pointers. You know, like those items you'd see, like where people shine laser pointers in players' faces. Well, they did so there to Schmeichel. And again, that usually they below that item dead there, too. You could see it. Man, oh, man. You just talk about the lack of class. Oh,
that's the way the English fans are, though.
I'm going to tell you one thing. I don't think that was a Denmark fan that was shining a huge, industrial grade laser pointer in Schmeichel's eyes. I want to say that's probably an England fan.
They call them the hooligans, don't they? A lot of the English fans, hooligans,
football hooligans.
They always have problems with them over there. It is what it is. I mean, what should you do, right? You got to kick them out, but whatever. The better team won, though. Like I said, I don't have an issue. That's not why. I don't have an issue
with who won. I have an issue with how they won.
Okay. Well, they're going to get beat Sunday, and then we'll hear the England fans complaining. Well, we only gave up 4 goals. If things should have been like this and that and the other thing, the losers lament.
England's only given up 1 goal tournament long.
Oh, well, that'll change. Oh, who they played? They haven't played anybody. They played no one. The only team they played was Germany, who's just a shell of themselves, an absolute shell. Going into this tournament, they were playing the worst that they played. They had lost 2 straight home games. Imagine that, Germany. Germany never loses, let alone loses at home. And they lost 2 straight at home. They played 1 good game the whole tournament against Portugal. Other than that, they look like absolute garbage.
They've only allowed 1 goal all tournament. Can you respect that, Grumpy? 1 goal all tournament. Again, you wonder what teams have they played? Hold on. Stop. They played Croatia, World Cup finalist 2 years ago. Scotland.
It wasn't 2 years ago.
Okay, 3 years ago?
That's right.
Okay, well, okay. The year was 3 years ago now. They played Czech Republic, who made it to the semi, or they made it to the what did they make it to? The quarterfinals?
Yep.
So they played the Czech Republic. They played Scotland, not much there. They played Germany. They knocked them out. They played Ukraine, and they played Denmark.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, look at the other bracket. The other bracket had Belgium, the number 1 team, France, the number 2 team, Italy, Switzerland, Spain. This was the easiest bracket imaginable. They gave them every single chance to advance, and they played all their games at home. The 1 game they played on the road, 1 game against Ukraine. It was the only game they didn't play in England at Wembley Stadium. I can't wait for them to lose on Sunday. I cannot wait. And they will get beat. They haven't played anyone with any offensive prowess. They're going to see that come Sunday. Italy has been absolutely dominating. That said, Spain deserved to go through on Tuesday. They did. But Italy knows how to win these games. England does not.
Moving right along there, Grumpy. Also, comment there from Arsene Wenger. I love him. He's so vocal and he's always all over the place. Says no penalty. I don't understand why situations like that, the VAR, the referee doesn't go and look at the screen. In a moment like that, he has to be absolutely sure. Here's the thing too, right? Remember when VAR was originally introduced, they usually went ahead and trotted over there to the screen. They go ahead and say, yes, it's a penalty, or no, it's not a penalty. How the hell in a situation like that, extra time at the semifinals of Euros, do you not go take a trot over there to look at the screen and watch the replay? Man, oh man.
Here's what should have happened. You let the play go, and you let VAR make the determination if it's a foul or not. Because they review everything, and they call down if they see something wrong. You do not call something so weak like that a foul. And not at this stage of this game, the semifinals in the 108th minute, you just don't do it. It's just, I mean, it was a really weak call. He took a dive. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we got a comment there also from John P. saying, Viva Italia.
They're the best team. They're the best team. They're old. They're old on the backside, but Cialini and Bonucci are still doing the job back there. But they have guys who can really run vertically. Italy has always been known for playing a compact defensive style, which they still have. But now they have guys who can get up the field, and they're really direct in their attack. England's just playing around with the ball. You play like that, you're never going to score on Italy. Absolutely ever.
I'll tell you this much. They do have an outstanding goaltender. Donnarumma is fantastic. So
Fat boy.
I swear to God.
Here's the thing. It used to be because he's wear those baggy clothes. I've called him fat boy since he was 18 years old. But, I mean, think about the goaltending they've had over the last, quarter century, right?
Buffon and now Donnarumma.
Yeah, Donnarumma. I mean, you can't do much better than that.
If you're a fan of the nation in general, you're just like, man, oh man, boy, have we lucked out with two phenomenal goalkeepers, netminders there. Hey, I mean, Donnarumma, he's young. I always forget, right? Donnarumma's been on the scene for a long time, but he's still in his early 20s.
He's going to PSG next year. And I'll tell you, though, for a neutral, if you don't have a rooting interest, Italy has been really, really fun to watch. I mean, I love Holland or Netherlands because they play an exciting brand of football. They really do. I don't like all these teams that lay back. Let's not try to score. Does this sound familiar? Let's try to win a game. And I just love the teams that do that, particularly in soccer.
Well, yeah, I understand there, but hey, sometimes that defensive structure, just like our boys there at Italy, it gets you all the way to the finals, Grump.
Well, it's the fact that they're attacking more is why they're advancing as they are.
Oh, goodness gracious. Arsene Wenger also said there, hey, he says the fans suggest that they would like to see the World Cup every 2 years. I don't disagree. I'm not sure how that would work logistics-wise there for all these individuals and these players, because usually, the time period that the World Cup's played, the Euros, as well as the Copa are played there. Those are all time periods in the off season where usually they're supposed to be resting. They're supposed to be getting their legs rejuvenated before the long year up ahead there regarding, their football schedule. So I would love it. I'm just not sure they're ever going to do anything like that.
You'll see some fight back on that from club teams, because usually when here's the thing, right? The best players on the club teams are usually going deep into the World Cup run, or in this instance, of course, there's more teams in the World Cup, but to a lesser extent, Copa America and the Euros, the best players are playing deeper in, so they're not recovering as much, and they usually have a down year the next year. That's, these guys are getting paid a lot of money to play for their club teams. And while I would love, every fan certainly would love to see a tournament every summer, I know I would, I just don't think it's healthy for the long-term success of the club game.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. Think about it this year. You've also got the Olympics, the Summer Olympics this year, too, where they're going to be playing the soccer tournament as well.
Yeah. I
know the level of entry is a lot different. It's you're going to see different types of teams. I mean, you'll see New Zealand out there competing there for for an Olympic gold. You're just kind of like, ew, okay.
And all these guys who play, on their national team, not all of them play in the Olympics.
No. That being said, too, grumpy old man tonight, Game 5, Tampa against the Montreal Canadiens. Grumpy.
Yep, Tampa will win tonight.
Yeah, right now here, and again, it's funny there. Alexander just commented in no score in the Tampa-Montreal game early in the second.
I feel confident that Tampa. I feel like John Cooper tonight. Confident.
You feel like John Cooper confident, huh?
Confident.
Goodness gracious, Grumpy. Goodness gracious. I'll tell you.
Hey, they're the best team in the league.
And I think they're going to win. I think it works out best if they win at home too, because if they won in Montreal, they wouldn't be able to have like a celebration or like a party with like family or anything like that either right afterwards. I know like they had different rules like COVID wise there for that. So I'm sure they're happy, if they win at home. You want to win in front of the home crowd too. There's nobody really in the crowds there in Montreal. So you want to win in front of a crowd, especially at home. So even if it's a library crowd like the Lightning fans are.
It was funny because they did do the national anthem. The Islanders, I thought, set the standard for fans singing the national anthem. Well, they kind of did that in Tampa tonight, but it wasn't as good as the Islanders. That's all I'm going to say.
Hey, man, nothing's coming close to as good as the Islanders there regarding, singing of the national anthem. Come on, man.
Nope. True.
On other news there, it's going to be Brazil against Argentina, the best team in South America, Grumpy. I know we haven't talked too much about that tournament. Well, we've been talking about Euros. But Brazil against Argentina. And it's funny, right? Argentina won yesterday there on penalties against Ecuador. And, Colombia. I'm sorry. Thank you. Colombia. It's been a while. Been a long week, but against Colombia. And, you're going to get Brazil against Argentina. That should be a good watch, Grumpy.
Brazil will win. They're just I'm sorry. Argentina's a mess. They are super talented, but they're just a mess. I mean, the fact that you let a really below average Colombia team come back and tie you and have chances to win in regulation and lose in shootout like that. I mean, it wasn't a good win for them. I'll just say that. Brazil's looked pretty good. They beat Peru 1-0, playing with 10 men for almost the whole second half. They scored a goal, and then like 2 minutes later, Jesus gets sent off, deservedly so, with the red card for spiking a guy in the chest.
Yes.
But they still pretty much dominated the action with 10 men. And that's a Peru team that gave that's given Argentina problems before. So it's like, it is what it is. It doesn't matter to me. The one thing I look at that, and it almost looks like it's at a high school field. You look at the Euros, they're playing in big stadiums. You look at this, it's like they're playing on some high school field, grass torn up, holes, dirt. So I'm like, come on, fellas. You can't have better looking fields like that. This thing makes a lot of money. You can't even put full grass on these fields. Just terrible.
I'll tell you, also Brazil's number 3, I think, in the world. And here it is too. Brazil's got an absolute star-studded team. I mean, like, again, I get it, Argentina. You got your Messis, you got your Acunas, you got players there on Argentina that are talented. Crazy enough, hey, Paulo Dybala doesn't really play, but neither here nor there. But Brazil, I mean, you just go down the list of these names, you're like, man, oh man, Brazil is deep. Brazil's deep. You got your Casemirs, your Marquinhos. Yeah, I mean, like, Brazil's deep. I'm afraid that Brazil's just a powerhouse compared to what Argentina has out there on the pitch.
And you got Neymar.
Yeah, for certain you do. Also got a few more comments here. Alexander saying, great job as always, guys. Love you. And you both are awesome. He said, unfortunately there, Argentina, they beat Colombia. He's like, I really thought Colombia was going to win. Viva Colombia.
I was rooting for Colombia because, I'm just sick and tired. Oh, Leo Messi. He's never.
Oh, hold on. How did you pronounce that name?
Lionel Messi.
Leo Messi.
Yeah, the Messi. He's never won a title with Argentina. Never.
Yeah.
Never freaking ever, right? And the Copa America is so easy to win. There's only 8 teams. It's the same 8 teams every 2 years. The same 8 teams. They're one of the favorites with Brazil every single other year. They got beat by Chile. Messi misses a penalty kick. The Euros are way tougher. I mean, way, way, way tougher. They got 32 teams in that. They have 8 there.
Well, it's funny you mention it, right? Wenger was also talking about that today in his interview. He said, I mean, you look at Euros, he's like, just look at how robust the teams are. All 4 teams that made the semis last World Cup were all the teams that were in Euros this year. So again, like Euros are a lot tougher to win. I'm not sure. Here's the thing. If Messi doesn't win it this year, I'm not sure he ever is.
He's not winning it this year. I always find it laughable when people say, he's better than Cristiano Ronaldo. No, he's not. Sorry. Ronaldo's clutch. He's got the clutch gene. Messi does not.
So I just want to make sure we've got this on record. You do not think they're bringing football back. You don't think England's winning here.
Nope. Italy.
Alexander saying breaking news: Tarasenko has just officially requested a trade.
Well, I'd love to have him on the Islanders. I know he's had some shoulder issues, numerous ones. I'm sure we'll be talking about that on our other podcast come Saturday night.
Saturday. We'll have some guests coming up there too, but we'll be going live during the expansion draft, so that'll be fun. And we'll have to just make sure we're doing our podcast here, TJ and the Grumpy Old Man, Grumpy, before that podcast. So we're going to do a little double up on podcast action that day.
Ooh.
Double up, boy.
Well, okay, that's cool. I can do that.
Absolutely, Grump. Well, let me ask you this. About 1 hour in, there was a lot of sports news. We're going to be back here live on Sunday evening at 8 p.m.
Sunday.
Time. Grumpy, anything else you want to say before we wrap things up?
No, and I guess on Sunday we'll be talking about the Italy victory over England in the Euro 2020.
Oh, goodness gracious. Grumpy, you almost make me want to choose. You almost make me want to choose England, even though I don't want England to move on just because they got it. I don't hate England.
I just, whenever I see the announcers, and I love the English announcers. I do. I love that. They are great at it, but they continually, whenever there's an England game on, they are openly rooting for England. Openly rooting for them. Whatever happens, England's right, the other team's wrong. It's like, it would be like me calling an Islander game or me calling a Tom Brady game. That's what it would be like. That's what it would be like, seriously, right? And you just listen to it. It makes me, oh, come on, guys. I can't deal with that. And here's the thing: when they get beat by Italy, there's gonna be a lot of crying in them stands. No fish and chips tonight, boys and girls.
God almighty, Grump. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, you're something else, Grumpy. Alexander said, Grumpy, one of these days I'm gonna have my uncle call into the Islanders Never Say Die podcast to have you roast them.
You know what? I don't roast people till I get to know them, but I will make an exception for you, Alexander.
Oh, goodness. John P. also saying you guys are the best. Thanks, John P., for tuning in, Alexander. And Alexander also saying the Spanish announcers are the best, making everything sound exciting when it's not. Oh, man, I'll say the enthusiasm they bring, it's crazy. I love it.
It is. They are great. I wish I understood Spanish.
I understand bits and pieces, words here and there. Not enough there for me to comfortably listen, though, to a game called in Spanish. That being said, Grump, anything else you want to say here before our next podcast on Sunday evening at 8 p.m.?
Yes, I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't. From TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Thank you, Grumpy, for being a part of this. And thank you, everybody who listened to the live stream and podcast. Again, remember, if you enjoy this content, best way to show your support, number one, by subscribing. Also, by liking and commenting there on the video. Alexander's got 2 comments there for you. Brady with some throw-ups, and he says, let's go Dolphins. No better way there to end the podcast than that, Grumpy.
Well, Alexander should actually be happy. I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword. He doesn't get to beat Miami twice a year, even though that would be the one team that would beat them every year. Miami would manage to beat New England once a year, every year, for whatever reason, except when it really counted. And but now he lives down there in Florida, so it has to be Tom Brady all the time. Probably Alexander on his way to work, driving. He's driving on the road, and he looks up and there's a billboard: Tom Brady in town. What did they call it? Tampa Bay?
Oh, jeez.
Tampa Bay.
God almighty.
Hey,
God almighty, Grump.
He's the greatest. Come on.
I was really hoping we get through one freaking podcast without a Tom Brady mention. But I foolish me. Here's the thing, guys. We only have about 8 weeks to maybe get away with a podcast without a Tom Brady reference because, hey, there's only, I think, 8 weeks until the season starts. Once the season starts, I could tell you he might be like, Tom Brady took a breath. He tied his shoes righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. He started with his left shoelace this day. Oh, my God, can you believe it? The man, the myth, the legend himself. Again, I think Tom Brady's the greatest, but come on, Grump. You can't stop giving him so much praise.
He deserves it. He deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
He deserves it. He's the greatest football player ever. Yeah. That's the greatest winner ever.
Oh, thank you, Grumpy. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. Thank you again, Grumpy Old Man.